a little backstory. So our twins, who are to have complex health needs. Our son has short gut syndrome and he has a central line, and our daughter has cerebral palsy, hydrocephalus, epilepsy. They both have chronic lung disease. And it's just a very brief synopsis of, their medical journey so far, and how it's ended up where we are today. So our son's in the hospital at the moment. He went in on Friday. We're now Tuesday. We're hoping that he'll be home tomorrow. He's not doing too bad. He's feeling pretty rubbish in himself, but we don't think it's anything too serious. So, as children do, they pick up all sorts of bugs, and they get viruses and they get bugs and they have fevers, and most kids stay at home. They have Calpol, they have a couple of days of unease, but unfortunately for our kids, 9 times out of 10, these run-of-the-mill everyday viruses, bugs that most children get ends up that they will be in the hospital. So, like I was saying, my son, who has short gut syndrome and he has a central line, is in hospital at the moment, and the reason for that is he spiked a fever of 38, and part of his emergency healthcare plan is that if he gets a temperature of 38 or above, he has to go into hospital and he has to be administered IV antibiotics, and he must be on those IV antibiotics until the blood cultures come back to say that he hasn't got a line infection, that he doesn't have sepsis. But it doesn't matter whether we suspect or we know in our hearts of hearts that he has, a cold or, whatever it might be, something just a mundane everyday virus that a child gets. We can't be too careful. It doesn't matter what it is. We have to take him into hospital, and we know we'll be there for at least the 3 days until the cultures come back to let us know whether he has it or not. So it's not an every week occurrence, but it's a pretty regular occurrence, and at the moment it's becoming more often because they've just started nursery, so of course, like every child, they're picking up every little bug, every germ, and they have to build their immune systems up. It's going to happen. We can't protect them from these things, but it's not the same as a child that gets these everyday childhood illnesses and is feeling pretty rotten and not very well, but has to have Calpol and sleep it off and stay at home. And unfortunately with our twins, 9 times out of 10 it means that they end up in hospital, and specifically for our son, who has short gut syndrome and has a central line due to that. Any fevers or any uncertainty of any signs of like infection, we have to take him in. So he's been in a little bit longer. The cultures originally came back as negative, so we knew it wasn't a line infection, we knew it wasn't sepsis, but we're in this unprecedented situation where even though the cultures has come back, his temperatures were still spiking. So it was like, right, okay, how do we deal with this? And his team, unfortunately, because it was over the weekend, his team weren't in, so it was just the general pediatricians that were dealing with him, and they're not his doctors. So it was a case of they were making a plan going forward. It's a bank holiday weekend, so we didn't see anybody from his team till today, who's then said, no, totally different plan. We're going a completely different way from what the weekend staff were saying. And you know, that's fine. We're kind of used to that 180 difference in plans, but this is just like a little snapshot what it's like to have what it's like to have a child who has a central line, a child who has short gut syndrome, a child who has other complex health needs. Yeah. So I'm going to try and get some sleep. Me and my partner have a situation where one of us stays in the hospital with one twin and one comes home with the other. I'm at home with the other twin. She is asleep for now and probably won't be for very long, so I'm going to try and get some sleep myself. And my phone's on loud as always when one of them is in the hospital, so I can get a phone call if I should need to be reached. But yeah, I'm going to try and get some sleep.